For 20 years, William Letty has been an air traffic controller with the U.S. Navy. He has served in bases all over the world. Now stationed in San Clemente, California, Letty will retire in a few months.
Well, I mean, for 20 years I've done X, Y, and Z. And now I'm going into a situation, I can tell you 3 weeks ago, I was very nervous about what I was going to do and how I was going to do it.
Anxious about life after the Navy, Letty came to the REBOOT workshop.
They teach you how to be more confident. They teach you how to deal with situations, with people a little bit differently, get you on a new, in a new way of thinking.
REBOOT is a 3-week workshop focused on helping military veterans, soon-to-be vets and their spouses, make a successful transition to civilian life. REBOOT's founder and executive director, Maurice Wilson, is a former Navy Master Chief. He says the program gives veterans
a refocus on their life, an ability to rebrand themselves and to rebuild the next life.
Every year, 100,000 veterans return to civilian life. About 30,000 try to make a go of it in California each year.
Right now, we have a lot of people out there that are hurting. In our county, we have the largest Iraq and Afghanistan veteran population here in the country. Some 28,000 plus individuals who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan make San Diego County their home. Many of them are suffering, and they're still trying to reintegrate and fit back in.
Retired Navy Admiral Ronnie Froman is CEO of National Veterans Transition Services Foundation. It runs the REBOOT program. She says changing the military mindset is the biggest challenge for most vets.
When you leave the military, nobody ever flicks that switch in your brain to change that thinking of how do you be successful in the real world. And that's what REBOOT does. And I think what's amazing is that there's no place else in the country that's doing this kind of training that I've been able to find.
Callie Clayton is a former Naval Aviation electronics technician. She coaches REBOOT students for job interviews. She says a common problem is their confidence level.
One of the biggest things is either being too timid or being over-aggressive.
And some vets who've gone through REBOOT can attest to that.
What am I going to do now? How am I going to get a job? Do I have what it takes?
So I was so narrow-minded and kind of stuck in my ways of what I had, how I saw my life.
I am completely scared when I walked in the doors to see what is going to happen with my life. I'm a single parent. I have to worry about my kids. I used to be very pig-headed, very just straightforward, and it's my way or that's it.
Clayton also runs a staffing recruitment firm. She says veterans who have not had the benefit of REBOOT find it difficult to make the transition to civilian life.
That's still that very military mindset. It's black and white. There's no gray area into it. And REBOOT opens up the mind. It opens up the horizons of what the abilities are.
Week 1 focuses on personal transition, helping vets understand how they think and react. Week 2 focuses on lifestyle transition, helping them envision their future and set new goals. Week 3 is all about their career. Participants get counseling to prepare for job interviews, networking, and effectively presenting themselves to potential employers. REBOOT provides veterans critical assistance above and beyond the military's own transition program known as TAP. REBOOT offers much-needed counseling to help vets with the psychological transition to civilian life.
My classmates kept calling it TAP class on steroids. I had never heard that before I got here, but in reality it really was nothing like TAP class.
It's not TAP on steroids. It's definitely a completely different way of looking at everything.
It helped me gain understanding of who I am and who I can be.
Wow, what a ride. That's exactly what I feel right now.
I've been rebooted.
There are other programs trying to assist veterans, but as Mark Cafferty with San Diego Workforce Partnership explains, they aren't nearly as effective as REBOOT.
And all the different places where I hear someone say, well, we have a program that addresses that. And the more I look into the program and the more I investigate it, it really doesn't. The thing that has stood out to me so much about REBOOT is the people who have thought through this program.
As fellow veterans, Wilson and Froman understand how leaving the military is a lot like losing a safety net for many vets.
In the military, you are taught how to think. Everything's uniform. what does Ronnie think? How do I feel about things? And you have to go through a process to learn all that. Some of us it's easier than others, but many out there have never been able to make that adjustment.
Observing the transformation vets go through after 3 weeks of Reboot, Froman believes the training program should serve as a national model for what really works.
When you see these students come in the first day, they're fearful, they're hesitant, their self-esteem is gone, they don't look you in the eye, there's no interaction, and just in 3 weeks, to see them at graduation, their self-confidence, their self-esteem, their love of themselves. We've even had wives come in here and thank us for putting their marriages back together. It's been absolutely amazing. And the transformation happens very, very quickly. Because we're all trained to follow orders and follow. So people listen, they absorb, and then they're able to use that knowledge.
As for Navy Air Traffic Controller Bill Leddy, making the change hasn't been easy.
In order to survive, you actually have to be able to step outside of what you know. It's hard. It's not easy to hear somebody tell you that you may not be able to do the job that you've been doing for 20 years. For me, it's almost panic mode because I love my job. I love what I do.
He says Reboot helped him think differently, and now he sees the big picture.
It puts it all into perspective. It shows you where you've come from and where you want to get to. So that's what I took out of it.